Kevin O'Leary torches the entire left wing of America with his election analysis. Guys, this is going to be a lot of fun, and you're going to like it. As I'm sure you may know, Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary does not mince words with this kind of thing. He's very matter of fact, straight to the point. He does not hold back, and he's not afraid to crush the feelings of a few snowflakes along the way. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get right into it. But first, everybody, do me a huge favor here. Like our video, share it around, and if you are new, subscribe to the Resist Mainstream YouTube channel so we can keep bringing you guys this great, hard-hitting content. Also, for our subscribers, thank you so much for coming back. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Darian. Let's get into the show.
How do you read this?
I'm going to stay on this theme for a moment and call this perhaps the greatest night the Democratic Party can ever have if they lose. And let me explain that. I was very troubled just over 100 days ago when they circumvented the democratic process and anointed somebody. The analogy is easy to a Super Bowl. You arrive at the Super Bowl game, and by any measure, this is the Super Bowl of global politics, the presidential race. Your quarterback, Biden, is injured. He's taken out of the game. You don't bring a quarterback in that's never, ever won any game anywhere. You run a process, and they missed that opportunity. This is a chance for them to, I'm not saying they're going to lose, but I'm going to those percentages and saying they get to reboot. They get to go back to the center. They get to scratch this whole thing, and the influences of a Schumer or a Pelosi or a movie star or an Obama deciding to anoint somebody, those guys are gone in 4 years. They won't have that kind of influence. This could be great for America because I'm an investor. I have to work with who's ever in the White House in January. But I care about policy. And when I hear policies coming out of a party that are so twisted against the American way of life, like basically taxing capital gains that are unrealized, that's not America. Or price controls, that's not America. 28% tax rate takes us to the bottom quartile of competition.
I mean, yeah, those are all issues, and I don't necessarily disagree with any of them. I will say, I think there's a bigger issue that's being missed by O'Leary here, but, you know, maybe that's just because his focus is business and economy. I get it. Think about the social issues. Think about how much vilification there is of people for being white, for being male, for just being anti-left in general, because even people who are minorities, who are black, Latino, whatever, they get attacked as race traitors routinely as the left. Same with women, they get attacked as sex traitors and all this other stupid, nasty stuff. I think those really drove people in a different way. Like, sure, I get it, the economy's bad, inflation's bad. We all understand that, but, and not to mention, you have the left pushing for sex changes on children, as well as ending the life of a baby up until the day of birth. These are radical, disgusting, and gross policies, all while they're calling you, the conservative one, or maybe just the not leftist person, evil and crazy and like, you know, an orange mustache man in Germany, all for opposing their agenda. And, you know, it's no wonder that there was a backlash, and it was big. Let's not forget that Trump won the popular vote. That is massive, guys. There hasn't been a Republican who's won that in a presidential election in 20 years. Think about that. 20 years. In fact, it was basically unheard of, and it was accepted as common fact that it wouldn't happen. And lo and behold, here it is. 74 million votes and still counting. Donald Trump killed it in this election. There's no denying it.
That's bad. We can't do that. That would hurt the country. And all I do is work with entrepreneurs that want to build businesses. There's a reason people come here under barbed wire and drown in rivers to get into America. It's the American dream. It's the only thing the president has to do is to maintain it. Those policies are against the American dream. And I have nothing against Harris. I mean, look, she did a masterful job in getting to where she is. It would be good for them to lose tonight. It would reset and reboot and get that party back to the center. It would be good for them. They may not want to hear that.
We don't.
But they may have to. You may have to deal with it. You may have to.
Yeah, well, there's a huge issue that Kevin O'Leary unintentionally alluded to that I totally didn't mention. Illegal immigration. It's massive. It's out of control. Of course, there's going to be a backlash. You know, a lot of people are saying that Trump won the vote of Hispanic men. I don't know if that's true or not, so I don't want to make that claim, knowing it for sure or not. But if it is, it doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. And it's really awesome because it's actually breaking down a lot of preconceived notions people had. And I think for the better. Now, since it's really apparent that Kevin O'Leary is a big finance guy, he's into business, that kind of thing, let's see some of his post-election analysis on how Trump is affecting an important aspect of the United States economy.
I'm sure there were moments last night that you were sort of as shocked as everyone else was that this is how this is really going. What went through your head? And then you start to see the markets surge and that immediate reaction.
First market I saw move was Bitcoin, actually, because it trades 24/7.
Yeah.
We started to see that just after midnight. And by the way, Aaron, I just always preface my comments. I don't shill for politicians. I shill for policy.
Right.
And so I'm looking for pro-business policy. So when I saw Bitcoin moving, a lot of that coming from Asia, those markets and the Middle East, those markets were already watching you probably and other outlets that they can feed there, deciding this county information is getting interesting, and Bitcoin was a huge winner.
Right. And Trump obviously has been a big supporter of Bitcoin.
Well, he's also supporting the policy around digital payment systems. So this is going to be a good sector for us.
You know, I remember hearing about how Donald Trump's election would be the end of the world itself and everything would be destroyed, including the United States economy. Yet here we are where Bitcoin is surging. You have all the stocks going up right after Trump gets elected. Really doesn't seem to be the case. Not to mention, you know, we literally had 4 years under him and had one of the best economies in recent American history. But never mind, you know, hysteria trumps facts. Of course. How could I forget? Now, as for my earlier point of how I think social issues ultimately take the Democrats far more than the economy did, although both are important, make no mistake. Let's see what Maxine Waters has to say, our favorite Democrat congresswoman, along with, you guessed it, Chris Cuomo. This is going to be fun.
What is the lesson that your party should have learned?
Well, the Democratic Party worked very hard. And they raised, substantial sum of money. We had great candidates. And so Trump had a following, basically generally led by whites. White males voted in big numbers. He had a few from the other race groups that joined in, like the Latinos at 45%, and black men at about the same rate that they did when they voted for him before, at about 20%. That combination won. And so it is not that Democrats did not work hard, did not do a great job. We had an unusual situation where we had a black woman, which this country has never seen before. A combination of all of those things led to his win.
I will not push back on the idea that race and sex matter in American politics. I think they do. I don't know that it was the controlling variable, and you don't suggest otherwise. To me, it seemed to be that the Democrats thought Trump stinks is enough. And Senator Bernie Sanders said something that reminded me of you, which is why I wanted you on the show tonight, Maxine, which is Democratic Party used to be, we are all about doing for working people. That's what working.
You notice how they just can't learn from their mistakes? You have Maxine Waters sitting right there and saying, racism, sexism, blah, blah, blah. And even Cuomo says, I don't really think that's the deciding factor, because unlike her, he at least has a little bit of self-awareness about how ridiculous and just crazy the Democrats have gotten. It's really quite remarkable. But concentrate on what he said after, because what he said at the end actually really matters there. Working people. The Democrats have become a party of elitists. They don't care about the American people. They're too hell-bent on dividing them than actually giving them what they need to help them flourish. And thankfully, enough Americans saw that. Thank God.
That's what we do. That's what Mario Cuomo's party, that's what Maxine Waters' party was. You are now seen as not that, even by Bernie Sanders.
When somebody as far left as Bernie Sanders himself is rejecting you and saying you're not doing a good enough job, you're in bad shape. That's all I gotta say. With all that being said, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. As always, please be sure to comment below. Let us know what you liked about the video, what kind of stuff you want to see in the near future, and we'll see you guys again soon. Thank you, and God bless.